God's judgment on the world will begin with Sunday worshippers. The world is on the brink of divine judgment. The time of deception is coming to an end, and every person must stand before God's throne to answer for their actions. But here is the shocking truth. God's judgment will begin with those who have knowingly rejected his commandments in favor of man-made traditions. For centuries, the religious world has been taught that worshipping on Sunday is acceptable. Millions have followed this practice without questioning its origin. But what if they have been misled? What if the greatest deception in history has caused people to worship in a way God never commanded? The biblical evidence. Who changed the Sabbath? From the very beginning, God established the seventh-day Sabbath as his holy day. Genesis 2:2-3 tells us, "And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it." This was not just for Israel. It was for all of creation. It was an everlasting covenant between God and his people. Yet history shows that Sunday worship was never commanded by Jesus, the apostles, or the Bible. The change came through pagan influence and Catholic authority long after the Bible was written. The Catholic Church openly admits this. Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that. But can man override what God has commanded? God's judgment on those who reject his law. The Bible warns that in the last days God's judgment will fall on those who follow the traditions of men rather than his commandments. Revelation 14:9-10 declares, "If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God." This is not a small issue. This is a final test of loyalty. The day of worship you choose shows whose authority you obey, God's or man's. Ezekiel 9:6 tells us that judgment begins with those who claim to follow God but reject his truth. "Slay utterly old and young, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary." If you claim to follow Christ but knowingly reject his commandments, where will you stand on Judgment Day? The challenge to skeptics and non-believers. Now, here is the challenge. Can you find a single verse where God changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday? Can you find one command from Jesus or the apostles instructing believers to worship on Sunday? The answer is simple. You cannot. No such verse exists. Sunday worship is a man-made tradition, not a biblical command. The question is, will you continue to follow tradition, or will you follow God's truth before it's too late? The final warning. Make your choice now. Time is running out. God is calling his people back to his commandments. The final judgment is coming, and it will begin with those who claim to know him but reject his word. Jesus is calling. The truth has been spoken. What will you do with it? Choose today whom you will serve.